everyone. Welcome to PHAMCAST and Preventative Health Awareness Movement. I am so excited to be back with Dr. Kristy Prouse, the Chief Medical Officer of RegenaLife. So, Dr. Prouse, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm always thrilled to sit down and speak with you because I always learn from you. So let's talk about what is RegenaLife. I've certainly had the privilege and honor of learning from you over the years, and I'm always intrigued and excited by what you've got going on now at RegenaLife.
Yeah, so RegenaLife is a clinic that has really tapped into some of the cutting edge technology that Canadians haven't seen to date, and in fact can only get through RegenaLife. And so we're looking at really the advancements that artificial intelligence can make in the diagnostic phase of disease, and really, you know, looking at it more from a preventative and a proactive direction versus the sick care, you know, pill for every ill type of approach. Let's catch this early where we can make a difference.
I love that, and you know, you've got your hand in so many things because you are that kind of clinician and that kind of person wanting to be always on the cutting edge of things and looking at things from a preventative lens, which is why we get along so well. So what are some of the things, and when you talk about the technology, what are some of the main focuses that RegenaLife is looking at when it comes to people's health?
Yeah, we cover a lot of ground with a lot of different diagnostic tools, functional medicine assessments, but really, you know, there's really three big killers that we're seeing across the world, but in Canada as well. So cancer, cardiovascular disease, and neurocognitive issues. And so when you look at how AI is making an impact there, it's really quite spectacular.
Yeah, and so what can people expect if they, you know, come to RegenaLife? What does that look like, and how is that going to help improve their health and stock their preventative health toolbox?
Yeah, it really depends. We've got several different packages that people can tap into. You know, some of them do require coming down to our facility in Niagara Falls because we are partnered with a clinic in the United States, just across the border, hence the Niagara Falls, Canada, you know, border commuting. And so in Buffalo, we can do specialized imaging, but what's more important is the overlay of the AI. So the technology, so for example, you could do an MRI of the brain, looking for brain volumetrics, and artificial intelligence overlaid on top of that gives a level of detail that the human eye can't necessarily discern, and, you know, compare sides of the brain one with the other, compared to a normative data pool of MRIs, or our CT angios. So CT angios are another way where we can take a look at the detail of the cardiovascular system, and hard plaques and soft plaques. Again, something that AI can do that the human eye has difficulty distinguishing. And that's an important distinction. Hard plaques and soft plaques, they mean different things. Soft plaques are much more likely to cause an imminent issue. Right. And then the other is multi-cancer early detection testing. So now technology is getting really good at picking up on any of the tumor DNA that is shed into the bloodstream. And if you can pick it up on this blood test, it can also, by its pattern, show you where you should be looking for a cancer. Right? So it's just advancing and catching a lot of these disease processes early so that there's an opportunity to do something about it with less intervention.
Right, and when we talk about prevention, I mean, that really is exactly it. And I know a lot of people, there's a lot of talk about the fear of AI and what that can mean. This is where AI shines. This is where it's making a massive difference in healthcare. And once people get the results, because I know what I hear often, I've heard in my clinic for years, people are almost scared to find out, right? Oh, but I don't want to know, you know, as if that's going to change their outcome, right?
Well, I find that very, very interesting. You know, if you look at, for example, with cardiovascular disease, there's 50,000 Canadians that die every year of a heart attack. 50% of those that have a heart attack had no warning signs, no indicators that they were going to have an issue, and 50% of those are fatal heart attacks, right? So it's a big, big problem. You know, we don't want to wait until you are in that situation when you can actually take a look at your blood vessels long in advance and make interventions that will make a difference so that you don't end up in that category, right? And it's the same thing with you know, the brain volumetrics. We're at a stage now, a bit of a pivotal and turning point, where we can be picking up on issues before they are even symptomatic, And we are partnered with some really great functional medicine doctors who can work on the neurocognitive piece of these things so that you don't necessarily need to go down that pathway, right? Or the multi-cancer early detection test. It's a non-invasive test that is picking up on 51 different types of cancers, keeping in mind that in our current medical system we're screening for 4. So with this multi-cancer early detection test, it is really getting very good at discerning any tumors that shed from any DNA from a tumor shedding into the blood. It can be picked up on, and then the signal, depending on its methylation pattern, can direct our attention to where that cancer may be coming from. So it's a great screening tool to take you to the next level where you do imaging and biopsy for a diagnosis. So it's really advancing how early we can pick up on an issue, and sometimes even before it becomes a lump or a mass. And it's really important to understand with our current screening, we are only looking at a handful of cancers, where this multi-cancer early detection tool is looking at 51 different types of cancers, and with a great deal of accuracy and specificity as well.
Yeah, and so it takes the fear away, because here's the thing, by closing our eyes and pretending that things aren't happening, even like you said, we might not even know we're asymptomatic. Right. But when we know better, then we can do better, and we can get a team around us. And that's what this whole preventative health movement's about, is who's on your team.
Yeah.
And there isn't just one professional or one, you talked about functional medicine, but you work with a plethora of healthcare professionals, do you not? To help build a team together so people can help get into the driver's seat and be the CEO of their health.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the one thing that's nice about RegenLife. We're not just handing you a binder and saying, here's what's wrong with you, go figure it out.
Right.
We've partnered with multiple clinics who have a functional medicine foundation.
Right.
In my particular clinic as well, working with naturopaths, holistic nutritionists, traditional Chinese medicine. I mean, there's a whole variety of ways that problems can be approached. When we look at functional medicine, it's very different. It's a different paradigm really in how we look at medicine.
Right.
And it's becoming more decentralized instead of the siloed approach that conventional medicine takes. We really are looking at things from a foundational, at a cellular level, at the mitochondria, because it's amazing when you correct the foundation, how many symptoms and systems come online, right? And so we've partnered with some exceptional doctors and practitioners who all have their own areas of interest and areas of concern. But again, when you practice from a functional medicine perspective, you're getting at the root cause of an issue.
And as a result, not only are you preventing disease, but more importantly, we're looking at helping with vitality and living well to our last breath, not just trying to make it through life. I think that's really, really important as well, because I think in the current system for many years, we expect as we age that we have to decline in a way that isn't necessarily the truth. We want to live with that vitality and health span, not just lifespan.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, and that's a huge thing. Who wants to spend the last 10 years of their lives in
decline?
In decline.
Yeah. And in many places in the world that is not the case, and but it is a integrative approach. It is looking at everything from nutrition, mindset. I mean, this is why I love the work that you and I have done together for years, and partnering with me and the musculoskeletal side of things, you with hormones, but also now layering in diagnostics and AI can really just make everything that much more accessible. And speaking of access, I mean, this is the other thing that this whole preventative health movement I'm determined to do, and that is to help bring awareness and education so that we can get more funding for and accessibility for all Canadians to have this, which is really, I know, a passion of yours as well, trying to find ways, and this is the first step, is in educating, right? If we don't know something is possible, we can't create change, and that's where the change makers have to step up, and they have to know that these things are possible.
That's right.
So they can value and invest in this as well.
Awareness is essential.
It is.
And sometimes it's awareness from just the general population and their understanding and pushing it forward with their practitioners, so that we should be constantly learning.
100%, and we always talk about both the bottom up and the top down. I'm boldly sitting at, and have my whole career giving my time and energy and sitting at tables, whether it be at government tables, steering committees, really talking about preventative and integrative health long before it was cool to, but also now we know there is a shift in the mindset of Canadians. They're demanding it because we're in a crisis. People can't find a family doctor. Just last week they were released that Canadians are going online get help, but we want to make sure they're not going down a rabbit hole. We want to make sure they're getting sound information from professionals that know what they're talking about. So these conversations from both sides have to happen, and that's why I'm so grateful for the opportunity to always sit down with you and to get this mission out there. So if people are interested in RegenaLife, like where do they go? How do they get in touch?
You can find us at regenalife.ca.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, I know you and I have got a lot more planned. We're going to be doing more things behind the scenes to help move this preventative health movement forward. You've been instrumental not only in my health, but in supporting this mission and bringing other PHAMcasters to the table as well. In fact, I'm going to be doing an interview very shortly with Dr. Stephen Rallis, who is an exceptional practitioner who, I'm going to leave that for the interview, but you brought him into my sphere. So thank you for being not only a PHAMcastor, but a supporter of me, the work that we're doing, and thank you for letting me learn and grow from you and with you.
Yeah, and thank you for all the work that you are doing at pushing this forward. It's a must. Good job.
Thank you. So stick around, guys, because Preventative Health Awareness Month isn't just about an awareness campaign. It's a lifestyle, it's a movement, it's 365 days a year. And that's why we have to keep these conversations going. If you like what you heard here, share it with a friend. Tag somebody that needs to hear it. Show it to your doctor. Maybe show it to your insurance company. We are all in this together. You have to be part of the solution, not just contribute to the problem. We can do this because a healthy tomorrow begins with prevention today. See you soon.